Hello and welcome back. We'll be looking at cell referencing today. So we'll take a look at the three types of cell referencing we have in Excel. So we have the relative referencing, we have the absolute referencing, and we have the mixed referencing. Cell referencing is different from hard coding in Excel. Hard coding in Excel is basically frowned upon, and most people will advise cell referencing. So your cell referencing is basically you understanding the difference between your row and your column. So I'm just going to open a new sheet and we'll take a look at a little bit of Excel interface class. I'm going to leave a video that acknowledges that there. So basically what we have for a cell, the combination of a cell or the intersection of a cell is basically the row and the column. So your rows are basically the numbers 1, 2, 3 down to what we have in a cell, and the alphabets are the columns. So the intersection of your rows and your column is what gives us a cell. So we'll go back to the first step of cell referencing that we have. This is the one most people are familiar with. It is called relative referencing. How does it play out? So we have a simple data set here. We have the product, we have the price, and we have the quantity. Then we need to get the total or the subtotal. So how do we get that? Basically, we know that since one unit is 55 cents, and we order 15 units or 15 quantities. So to get the total, that's basically the multiplication of the price and the units. So I'm just going to start the formula with equals to in Excel, then click on this particular price. So me clicking on this is basically cell referencing. This is cell referencing here. So you do shift 8, which brings out a multiplication sign, multiply by the units ordered. Multiply by the units ordered. So insert. That's for relative referencing. To aid our work, or just to copy down the formula, do this way, Control D, or and do Control Z. Go down to the bottom right. So you can do it and go down to the bottom right and just drag down, and we have 11. We have the total. So to get the total is basically add the addition of all the products and the units that was produced together. So I have did this way. Sorry about that. Alt equals to, that's a shortcut. So you sum every single line item together. So we have 42 good $43 approximately, basically. So that's relative referencing. Relative reference. So go down to the second one, which is the absolute referencing. For our absolute referencing, it's kind of different from relative referencing in that we'll be introducing what we call what I like to call anchoring down, the dollar sign. So let's see how that plays out. So same data set, but we have an introduction of what we call VAT, the value added tax. So we have the price and we have the VAT. The VAT is a fixed charge. Now your absolute referencing plays out when you have an item that is fixed throughout the data sets you are going to be using. Again, the item is fixed, it is constant, it is known as constant. So what we're going to do is basically we need to get the price alongside the VAT because we are going to be paying VAT on all these produce that we want to buy. So what I'm going to do is basically equals to I'll get the price. Yes, I've gotten the price plus VAT. So plus then I'm going to do open bracket VAT. So the VAT is 20%. So 20% on the original price. So that's shift 8 multiplied by the original price. Multiplied by the original price. So the original price like this, I'll just close this and press enter. Now, this is basically still relative referencing because no changes. We did not anchor anything down. We did not make anything to be fixed. But recall, our 20% is the same VAT for banana, same VAT for cherry, same VAT for dates, same VAT for fix. So what are we going to do to present such scenario in which when we copy down, let's look at this. If I copy this down, I'm going to have a wrong amount. How will I know? Just click on anyone, then press on F2 on your keyboard. You can see that as we copy down the formula, this actually moves, which is correct, but this also moves, which is not correct. So now it is not selecting the VAT, it is selecting an empty cell. So what are we going to do? Control Z. What are we going to do? Click on F2 back. Now, what is fixed there is just the 20%, the VAT. So I'm going down to D14. Yeah. So this D, your colon D, row 14. Yeah. So D14, just highlight it and you click on F4 on your keyboard, F4 on your keyboard just once. So you have the dollar sign introduced in front of the colon, and your dollar sign introduced in front of your row. So that's how to make use of absolute referencing. So I click on enter, then I just copy this down, and we have the right amount. Like, let me click on F2 so we can check that. So we have this changing and we have this fixed throughout the period. So we are good to go. So we've gotten our price and alongside our VAT. So this is price we're actually going to be paying. So we have our units order. We need to get the subtotal also. So we have equals to multiply the cost per unit, the price per unit multiplied by the quantity. I'll just copy this down, and then alt equals to, so add the addition of those together, and that's how we arrive at our absolute reference. So we've dealt with relative referencing, or we've dealt with absolute referencing. So we've seen the differences between those two. Now move on to the mixed referencing. So we'll move right ahead into mixed referencing. So our mixed referencing basically takes the characteristics of both relative referencing and both absolute referencing. So it's a combination of those. That's why the mixed is coming from. So an attribute of relative and an attribute of absolute. Now, you need to actually understand the difference between your rows and your column. That's why I did a little bit of class on that earlier. Yeah. So what we need to do, or what we want to do using this data set, is basically we want to do 10 multiplied by 10, we want the answer. 10 multiplied by 20, we want the answer. 10 multiplied by 30, I want to 10 multiplied by 50. And the last one, 50 multiplied by 15. Now, we can't be doing this one by one. We need to actually do this in a smart way. That's where your mixed referencing comes into play. Now, how are we going to do this? So we'll come down to the top left, equals to, I'm going to do my 10 simple and straightforward multiply by my 10 basically. So we are done with that. Now we need to factor in mixed referencing. We need to make it mixed. Is either we are locking down the colon or you are locking down the row. That's just the layman explanation of mixed referencing. One of the two are going to be locked down, meaning we are going to introduce a dollar sign to either the row or to the colon. How are we going to do that? So we'll take it one after the other. So we have D8, cell D8, which is this 10 here. We'll look at it critically. We have cell D, we have column D, and we have row 8. Now, if you look at D, D is the one that is fixed here. Every single line item are on D. Every single line item are on D. Let me close this. Let's look at the name box. So we have D8. If you go down to 20, we have D9, we have D10. Then if we go down to 50, we have D12. Now, out of all these things I just showed us, D is the one that is constant. D is the one that is constant. So I'm just going to come here, click on F2, go down to D, or select D8, click on F4. This is once, meaning you are locking down both the row and the colon. Click on F4 again. You've locked the row now, but our goal is to lock the colon. Click on F4 again, and we've achieved our aim by locking down the D, which is the colon. So same thing applies to E7. I'll come down to E7. This is E7 here. If I go down to 20, you can see I have F7, G7, H7, and I7. 7 is the one that is constant here. So we'll go down to what we have. Click on F2. Highlight this using your cursor. F4. We want to lock 7 now. So we've gotten this. Then enter. Then what we just do is, let me select this, Ctrl D and Ctrl R. Ctrl D and Ctrl R, and we are good to go. If you click on this, which is the last one, you can see that we actually achieve our aim of multiplying 50 by 50. Click on it anywhere else, we can see we've achieved our objective, our aim of multiplying 30 by 30. So those are the 3 types of cell referencing we have in Excel. Down from the relative referencing, which is basically just highlighting a particular cell and not at coding, down to absolute referencing, which is you locking down both the row and the colon using the dollar sign or our F4 on your keyboard. And we have the mixed referencing, which takes the attributes of both the relative referencing and the absolute referencing, meaning you either lock the row or you lock the colon one of the two is meant to be relative, meaning it's not meant to be fixed. Then one of them is meant to be fixed, actually. Thank you. We'll meet in the next video.